I want to welcome the GMs and the wives, the godly men and the warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic women out there. Today I want to discuss narcissists and how they actually don't really ever worry about you. They worry about not being able to control you. And so whenever you hear a narcissist say that they were worried about you, what they're really saying is they're worried about losing control over you. These are the types of individuals that will be worried about you making your own decisions that actually have a productive and positive outcome on your life because they don't want to see you be doing better without them. They want to be part of your success because they see you as an object in their world. Okay? It's not about actually supporting you. It's about controlling you, and seeing that you thrive without them really pisses them off. You see a good, genuine human being that actually supports you, and that actually, when they are worried about you, and if they show that they're worried about you, they're going to show you through their actions. They're not going to show you just based off of words. Because guess what? If the narcissist was so worried, why didn't they come to help? If they were so worried about you and where you were at, where were they? They weren't showing up for you. They weren't. And even if they were, if this was a narcissist, that is, that was showing up for you, there was only, they were only there if they had something to get out of being there with you. This is the kind of individual that is running rampant nowadays in our society. And it's just I would say, there's like a platitude of misconceptions when it comes to the narcissist, because not everybody is a narcissist, but also we have so many narcissistic individuals out in our society today that are just on the scale of narcissism, exhibiting more and more traits of narcissistic personality disorder, that it's very challenging to discern sometimes whenever there actually is somebody that is worth talking to in front of you. And ultimately, I have found that it's better if people are just openly engaging with you. If people are willing to openly engage with you, then there at least is some kind of form of connection that can be made. But if they're only going to communicate with you on the merit of there's something of value that you have to give them, like if you have to pay to play, let's say, if you have to pay to play, then it depends on the situation and it depends on the individual. But ultimately, a pay to play in a friendship or a relationship or something like that, usually they're only looking for you to give them clout or status or something of the sort. And unfortunately, there are some people that may be watching this video that may be having problems with many members of their family or the people that were closest to them with their friend groups or whatever. Now, me personally, I don't have friends anymore. I think the term friend I think friendship is important, but to have a friend, it's almost like, is that even really a thing anymore? I don't necessarily think so as far as semantics go. For me, I'm going to have people that I'm building with, and I'm going to have people that I'm not building with. And the people that I'm not building with, well, they can go somewhere else. They're welcome to be who they are, but over there. Over here, we're going to be doing something completely different. Over here, we don't reject people just because we don't like what they have to say. We're going to actually have an interaction with them, and then we're going to find some common ground. And if there's no common ground, all cool, no worries. Just, we're going to go our separate ways. But I'm not about controlling people. I'm not about wanting people to be controlled, but I am going to have boundaries in place. And so you can operate within those boundaries or you cannot operate within those boundaries. You can do what you'd like. But I'm not going to be a part, and I'm not going to allow somebody to be a part of my life that is actually going to put restrictions on my prosperity or my peace or my intelligence or even shame or guilt me into doing things, because that's straight up manipulation. And that's what a lot of people nowadays think. That's just the unfortunate truth. And so whenever you have a narcissistic individual that is quote unquote worried about you, if you have any kind of inkling that this person is a narcissist, the first thing that you want to do is actually ask them about it. Ask them why they weren't there then. If you were worried, then why weren't you there? And that might be kind of a confrontational thing, and you might actually upset the narcissist. So do be careful and be mindful when you do that kind of a thing, because you might be exposed to a narcissistic rage, so to speak. I remember one of the first times that I really stood up for myself when I was communicating with a narcissistic member in my family. And I literally told them straight up, not everything is about you. There are other people here. And holy crap, that was something that threw everybody in the communication that we were having over the edge. It threw them all holy moly down the line. And they started to really see me as an enemy. And all of the flying monkeys came out, all of the insinuations, all of the potential blackmail, or the emotional blackmail that they had on me. And now that stuff doesn't even bother me because I own who I am. This is one of the great things, the most beautiful horrors about going through a narcissistic relationship. And I went through a lot because it took a lot for me to learn from it was almost like I was in a tunnel of narcissists for most of my life. And it wasn't until I finally got to where I was probably 22 years old when I started to really see the light, and I'm 27 now. And so by the time I got to see the light on the other side and I was out of this tunnel of narcissism, then I got out into the world and there was still more narcissists, but I came across healthy individuals, which I did not think actually existed at all before that, because I was stuck in the tunnel and I didn't even know I was in the tunnel of narcissists. I was just in this zone of humiliation and embarrassment and shaming tactics and guilt trips, and all of these people needed to be controlling over my life, and if I didn't do what they said, they would make me out to be this completely evil villain. And I was taught that if I weren't being accustomed to and appealing to the women in my life, I was a misogynistic man that had no respect for females. And it really turns out that I just was being taught how to disrespect myself. That's what I was ultimately being taught. And so when I finally started to meet these healthy people, males and females alike, I started to see, wow, there's actually a different way that we can go about this. And I knew that there was a different way to go about this. I knew that I had a unique way of viewing the world compared to all of these other people that I've been around my whole life. I knew that I could make my voice to be a healing pool inside my heart. I knew that I could do all of these things in my life to ensure that I lived a life of prosperity. And yet, every time I did those things, and all of these people were so supportive of me, these narcissists were so supportive, until I actually started to do well. And then all of the criticisms come, and then all of the shaming comes. And what those really are projections of their insecurities onto you, because they cannot see. You're reflecting to them, and this is what they don't like. You're reflecting to them what they haven't done, or what they could have been, and what they could have done. And this is not making you better than the narcissist. This does not make you better than anybody else. This is about you being in competition with yourself. This is about you understanding the nature of yourself. This is about you understanding that out here, at the end of the day, it's going to be you and God alone at the end of the line. And so when these narcissists try to make it seem like they care about you, ask yourself, are their actions demonstrating what their words are saying? And for me personally, I remember everything now. I used to believe that other people knew better than me. Like, oh yeah, they know better than me. Oh, they remember better than me. Blah, blah, blah. I was really just sabotaging myself. And this was a trained tactic for me growing up, because if I wasn't doing those things, if I wasn't actually just giving them the control, I would either get my ass beat, or I'd be shamed, or I'd be humiliated in public. There would be stories told about me that were completely untrue in public. And I would ask them, like, that's not true. Oh, honey, no, that is true. Completely gaslighting me in front of in front of friends, in front of family, in front of people. Like, it's just crazy talk. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And because they're the adults, or at least they were supposed to be the adults in the situation, everybody believed them and not me. And so I was infuriated, and I was so frustrated, because then they would say, oh yeah, we're so worried about him. No, you're not. And so I had this constant gaslighting and shaming toward me, where I was like, there's no way that they actually are saying what they really mean to say. How is this possible? How is this possible? But this is exactly what narcissists are like. And, you know, this is something I've been also thinking about a lot, was that Jesus was betrayed by his own people. And this is also something that the Bible says as well, is that the enemies will be in their own household. Like, your enemies are in your own household. The betrayal never comes from a friend, right? That's how the saying goes. A betrayal always comes not from an enemy, but from a friend. And that's what makes betrayal so hurtful, because, well, at least your enemies, you already know that they're enemies. Some of these narcissists out here, they make it seem like they're your friend. They make it seem like you're all buddy-buddy. But now this is why the semantics thing is so important to me. And it's important for my emotional regulation and spiritual health, because if I'm not emotionally regulating myself, if I'm not doing these things, then I know that I'm not really remembering who I am and what I'm about. I'm actually participating in somebody else's illusion or delusion. And that's not something that I want to do, and that's not something that I'm going to encourage anybody else to do either. I encourage everybody to remember what they're going through and who they are, and to live a prosperous life despite what these crazy weirdos want to have going against you. They're the crabs in the bucket. You're going to be the black sheep in the family, yes. But at least you're going to be the black sheep that actually does something with their life, and you're not going to be somebody that is stuck in these thought algorithms of narcissistic behavior. So with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful, and until next time, peace be with you.